Okay. Yay! Hopefully they're reported. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Cynthia Moore, and I'm the national lead for Ecomadres and a Nevada organizer for Moms Clean Air Force. Today, I am joined by Assemblywoman Susie Martinez, Marianita Ortega, Nevada State Coordinator for Mi Familia Vota, Luis Helton, Vice President of One Solar Electric, and also North Las Vegas Councilman and member of the Regional Transportation Commission in Southern Nevada. And Moms Clean Air Force is an organization of over 1.5 million moms and dads with over 8,000 members in Nevada. Our membership is growing because moms and dads are concerned about the air that our children are breathing on a daily basis. Our members have joined our organization to fight for clean air and protect our children's future, which is why I joined Moms Clean Air Force. I am the mother of a 4-year-old who was diagnosed with eczema when he was only 1, and that is also around the time that I started noticing that he was having breathing issues. As a new mom, I had no idea what was causing these issues. It wasn't until I became involved with Moms Clean Air Force that I realized that air pollution has a negative effect on our health and that of our children. This is when I noticed that his issues were exacerbated when our air quality was moderate or unhealthy. Transportation is the sector that contributes to our poor air quality and accounts for almost a third of all U.S. pollution and is the single largest source of climate-harming carbon pollution in the U.S. The American Lung Association's 2021 State of the Air Report ranked Las Vegas number 12 in the nation for ground ozone pollution with vehicle emissions as the primary cause of unhealthy air days. As more people are moving into Las Vegas and our local economy is recovering, we are seeing more visitors coming to our city each weekend. With that, we are also seeing more cars on the road and an increase of greenhouse gases. Pollution from cars and trucks dirties our air and threatens our children's health, which can lead to an increase in asthma attacks and other diseases. Electric vehicles produce zero tailpipe pollution, which would help clean up the air, which would help address climate change and help children breathe a little easier. Nevadans deserve clean air. Without ambitious investments in clean vehicles infrastructure, automakers will continue to make dirtier cars that pollute the air and harm our health. Improving our air quality is important for vulnerable groups like children whose lungs are still developing, older Nevadans, and for Latino families who are more likely to be exposed to air pollution. Efforts to improve our air quality are particularly important to me as a mother of a son who has breathing issues and the parents of 50,000 children who suffer from asthma across Nevada. It is urgent that Congress pass a bill that makes the big, bold, ambitious investments needed to tackle the climate crisis, achieve true environmental justice, and accelerate the transition to clean energy. To meet this moment, to heed the science, and to make good on President Biden's promises, Congress must act and now to deliver on climate justice and jobs. And with that,
Thank you very much. Thank you, Cynthia. For the record, Assemblywoman Susie Martinez. So I feel that we're at a very fortunate time right now because we have President Biden and we have up in Congress many of our champions. We have Dina Titus, Representative Horsford, Susie Lee. We have many of them who I know will champion our cause. This is so important for us to be here because we need to let Congress know how this is urgent. We need to pass this. With the climate change and everything that's happening in our environment, we can ask many of our labor organizations to also assist. We can get good jobs, good paying jobs that will help our city as well as help our environment. The time is, I'm so glad that we are here currently. I am here to just ask Congress to please pass and make this big, bold, ambitious investment that we need to tackle the climate crisis. Thank you very much, Maria.
Sorry, I need to move the mic. Hi, everybody. My name is Marianita Ortega, and I am the Nevada State Coordinator here for Mi Familia Vota. As we know, Latinos use public transport overwhelmingly, but we are also a community that suffers from living in areas which had been adversely hurt by the environmental degradation. We must have an investment in clean transportation. Low-wealth communities and communities of color are more likely to live in areas with high levels of hazardous air pollution, including areas near high traffic zones and highways. Pollution has been linked to a variety of health problems, like we heard from Cynthia's son, including aggravating asthma and other respiratory illnesses, cardiovascular conditions, and even premature death. Compared to non-Hispanic white Latino children, Latino children are twice as likely to die from asthma. This is a huge problem, and we definitely have to make sure that we're working for this not to happen anymore. We applaud this administration for spearheading this critical push on infrastructure and investment in our transportation systems, but we must make sure that it is the right type of infrastructure. It is urgent that Congress passes a bill that makes the big, bold, and ambitious investments, like everyone else has said up to now, needed to tackle the climate crisis, achieve true environmental justice, and accelerate the transition to clean energy. To meet this moment, to heed the science, and to make good on President Biden's promises, Congress must act now to deliver on climate justice and jobs. Thank you. And then,
Good morning. I'm Louise Helton, and I am the proud owner of One Sun Solar Electric. And as you've heard, asthma is a huge problem in our valley. National, it affects at least 7% of all of America's children, and it does disproportionately affect children of low-income families. A few years ago, over a decade actually, I chaired an asthma task force, and it was members included the Southern Nevada Health District, the school district. We also had the University Department of Public Health, all of us working to see what we could do to attack and address the terrible spread of the incidence of asthma in our area. One of the most telling things that we were able to put together was an actual map, thanks to some very hardworking students doing their graduate programs. They actually created a map of asthma hotspots in our valley. Surprising no one, the biggest hotspots were right along I-15. That I-15 corridor is constantly being traveled by very big trucks, diesel fueled for the most part, and that PM10 is in very high concentrations. So as it turned out, the area that was most impacted with asthma was the 89106 zip code, which was on the west side of the freeway. The strong number 2 was the east side of the freeway. So what we're talking about today is important, critical decisions that we're going to be making right now, and especially in Washington, D.C. Those are the things that are going to impact us now, but most importantly in the future. And the future is really our children's future that we're talking about. With electric vehicles like, passenger cars, commercial vehicles, transit vehicles, those are the things that are such a huge opportunity right now for us to secure a brighter future because of the technological advances that are right here and available for us. They're going to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. They're going to also provide us with energy independence, not just from foreign countries who don't care a thing about us and wish us harm, but also within our own valley to be more energy independent as individuals. It's a wonderful opportunity. In other parts of the world and here, there's great competition in the arena of great ideas and technology, one of them being bidirectional electric vehicles. Right now, the electric vehicles we're all familiar with, they only take in energy one direction, and it's strictly for the propulsion of the vehicle. However, the near future, the next big thing is going to be able to harness those batteries to actually provide fuel and energy sources for homes, businesses alike. These are the things that are going to help us get through very serious outages, shortages, and those peak times when electricity is so expensive. These are things that can save a ton of money, not just for individuals, for us as taxpayers, as well as business owners. So whenever your home or business also has solar as a part of their energy profile, it will be able to help you even more. So our country needs to be the leader in this technology. We don't want to be a bystander or come in second. That's not the American way. We have got, as my grandmother said, an opportunity, and she always told me, opportunity is a door, but you've got to walk through it. I don't want us to walk through it. I want us to run through it with some very bold, wonderful initiatives that are available at the federal level today. We just need to provide the encouragement to have our national leaders who've brought us to the point where we have so many opportunities take this most important and final step to actually making this a reality. Because at the same time that we improve our children's health and our energy future, we're also going to be creating amazing jobs. I can tell you this as the owner of a local company here in town. We provide solar power and EV charger installation in this valley, and we provide a ton of good jobs. I'm so excited to say that this year we will double the number of jobs that we have been able to hold up until now. These are good paying jobs that provide not just food and clothing and meals for the table, but enable our employees to pay college tuition for their children. So for all of these reasons and more, we want to thank our local leaders. We want to thank our federal leaders at that level as well, who have made this a priority today. We want to live in the country that they're building for us, but we want to make sure that that country's on the right side of history. And energy history is especially important. It will provide a bright future for our children, and our children deserve no less. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming here to the city of North Las Vegas. It's great to be here with you all today. If you don't know me, my name is Isaac Barone. I've been on since 2013. I've been sitting here on the North Las Vegas City Council, right here in Ward 1. This is Ward 1. And I also represent the city of North Las Vegas on the Regional Transportation Commission Board of Commissioners. In addition to the RTC's role as the Metropolitan Planning Organization and public transportation provider for the region, the RTC is responsible for traffic management, for roadway design, construction funding, and transportation planning efforts across Southern Nevada. As mentioned previously, we know that transportation is the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions of the country, and including right here in Nevada, where it accounts for about 41% of emissions. The consequences of how those emissions are, not really evenly distributed, with pollution disproportionately impacting lower wealth communities and communities of color. In order for us to tackle the climate crisis and address environmental injustice, we need to invest in clean vehicles and charging infrastructure. To that end, the RTC published its Zero Emissions Bus Rollout Plan in March of this year, which outlines the steps that RTC will take to facilitate a rollout to zero-emission technology. If funding is available, half of the RT's fleet will be zero-emission vehicles by 2030, and that's not too far away. Just 5 years after that, the agency plans on having 100% zero-emissions fleet. In fact, the RTC has already taken steps by testing both battery electric buses as well as fuel cell electric buses. I also want to point out, we do have technologies coming to North Las Vegas, including one company that will actually be manufacturing these fuel cells, these hydrogen fuel cells. To your point, bringing jobs and keeping us on the cutting edge of technology. Once those buses are put into service, the RTC will prioritize deploying those vehicles in disadvantaged communities as funding becomes available. We're lucky to have strong support for this initiative at every level of government in Nevada, from our local officials to, of course, our state legislature, our governor, and federal legislators. However, we know that this fight is a fight we just can't take on by ourselves. We need Congress to make bold and ambitious investments, so we're calling on our representative, Mr. Horsford, Congressman Horsford, and of course our senatorial delegation to accelerate the clean energy future. Thank you so very much for being here and for raising your voices.
I want to take this moment to thank everyone for joining us today. And I wanted to reiterate and thank Senator Cortez Masto, Senator Rosen, and Congressman Horsford for their leadership on this issue. And we just urge them to continue to support. And we can't wait to work with them to ensure that all Nevadans are able to breathe clean air. And together we can do this. Thank you.